Hello, welcome to episode 1 of the Winning Ways podcast. I'm Sam and this is Kurt. Today we're going to be talking about UFC 263. I have some notes and stuff I want to hit. How's your day, Kurt? What are you up to?
So far, it's going good. I'm ready to talk some fights. Ready for this pay-per-view tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it. I'm sure everybody knows the big names on the card. You have Nate Diaz is fighting Leon Edwards. Unfortunately, that's not a main event, but that's a good third fight to have for sure. Then you have 2 title fights after that, and I think it's going to be a stacked card.
Yeah, it looks really good. I think Nate Diaz is a big drawing point for the card, and then you got 2 title fights, which are both really good rematches.
Yeah, I agree. And for people that don't know much about this card, but you might know a lot about Nate Diaz, this is probably the only time you'll ever get him at a plus 400 odds if you're a bettor. If you like to gamble on these fights at all, he is coming in at a plus 400, which is probably the biggest underdog he's ever been in any one of his fights.
Yeah, those odds seem kind of crazy, honestly. I mean, most people are picking Leon Edwards, but I don't know, plus 400 money on Nate Diaz seems like a steal. Listen, Nate is a very smart guy, especially in this point of his career where I don't think he's really chasing belts anymore. I think he's kind of just chasing money fights. I think Nate knows something. He's got something up his sleeve. He's not just going to take a fight so he can get his ass kicked. So I like that plus 400.
Yeah, so do I. I'm probably going to take Nate Diaz plus 400. And I think you're right. And a fight like this is going to favor someone like Nate Diaz. It's normally title fights and main events are 5-rounders, but he somehow was able to make it a 5-round fight as well. So for him, I think the longer this plays out, the better he's going to do because he won't slow down and he'll keep the pressure the whole time against Leon.
Yeah, I think I definitely think the 5 rounds favors Nate Diaz, especially sometimes he could be a slow starter, but his cardio is always tip-top shape. Leon Edwards, to my knowledge, has never been in a 5-round fight, not at least in the UFC. His one scheduled 5-round fight against Bilal Muhammad obviously ended early due to eye poke. So yeah, I like the 5-round fight for Nate Diaz.
Yeah, as do I. I think that it's just going to play out in his favor. I'm not taking anything away from Leon Edwards. He's on an 8-fight winning streak. He hasn't lost in 9 fights. That's including the no contest. So he's definitely a title contender. His last loss was to the current champ, Kamaru Usman. And I wouldn't be surprised if with the win over Nate Diaz, it puts him in line for a title shot as well.
I think Dana White said the winner of this fight is going to be next for Kamaru Usman after Colby Covington gets a shot. Because I believe they're going to do Colby Covington next. And then the winner of this fight is going to get the winner of that fight. So a lot of stakes on the line for this one.
Yeah. And, speaking of Bilal Muhammad, who Leon Edwards fought last, he's also on the card 1 fight before Leon Edwards. He's fighting a UFC legend, Damian Maia. That's going to be an interesting fight for sure.
Yeah, that's a good one. Another big spot for Bilal Muhammad. I think this might be Damian Maia's last fight, or maybe he's got one more, but it's a tough fight for Muhammad. This Damian Maia usually takes care of guys like this. He kind of stumbles at the elite of the division when he fought, Tyron Woodley, Colby Covington, and Kamaru Usman. I believe he fought those 3 in succession or something close to that. But when he takes that step down, he usually takes guys down, strangles them, and gets the dub. But he's also 43 years old. So who knows what kind of shape he's going to be in and what he's going to look like.
Yeah, it's like, honestly, it's going to be I don't want to say a hit or miss, but I think if he loses in a bad way, this could be his last fight at UFC and he may retire. He's been an MMA fighter for a very long time. I mean, you have to remember he's been around for ages fighting at the elite competition. So I'm not sure what Damian Maia we're going to see. And Bilal Muhammad should bring the pace the entire time. That's a guy with an incredible cardio. I think he's similar to Nate Diaz and will be in Damian Maia's face the whole time. We'll see.
Yeah, we shall see. Again, it's going to be interesting on the feet, but once it hits the mat, Bilal could be in a ton of trouble. But Bilal Muhammad is a good wrestler, and he does have some nasty striking. So I'm pretty excited for that one.
Yeah, he's coming out as the biggest favorite right now at a minus 220, and they're starting Damian Maia at plus 180. I'm not sure if maybe that's just because of his age. And, lately the older UFC fighters are starting to, the people that you grew up watching, like Jacare, unfortunately. He's on a nice little skid. Cowboy Cerrone, same as him. The people that you once watched, and they're getting to the end of their career.
Maia by submission is plus 450. So
is it really Maia by submission? listen,
I by
that's a good,
submission is plus 450. Muhammad by KO or TKO is plus 400. So I mean, if you're looking to bet, those are both
yeah.
very good odds.
It seems like for there to be a finish is the way to go. Like one of them
Yeah.
to get a finish of some sort.
I agree.
And then you have, also you have another great grappler on this card. You have Paul Craig is fighting Jamal Hill, I believe is his name. That's the first fight on the main card, and Hill just came off an impressive TKO over Open St. Preux. I mean, we definitely have a striker versus grappler scenario there. Paul Craig has 14 wins, and 12 of them are by submission. So, it's going to come down to, can Paul initiate his game plan and get it to the ground, or can Hill keep it on the stand-up? We'll see.
Yeah, that's I think he pretty much summed that up perfectly. I mean, striker versus grappler, I'm sure each guy has a little bit in between, but Craig's going to want to take it to the mat and not be susceptible to Hill's power on the feet. And obviously Hill is going to want to keep it on the feet. Tough one to call. I think I kind of favor Jamal Hill in this one. I really like what he's doing. I like his power.
Undefeated as well.
Really good. Yeah, he is undefeated.
Yeah, good fighter, and he is coming in as a favorite right now. Not a big favorite. Actually, he's one of the bigger favorites on the card. He's a minus 300. Craig is a plus 240. I'd be willing to bet you Craig by submissions at least over plus 500 somewhere.
That's a little bit steep, it seems.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Now you get, you start thinking about the next fights are the title fights. You got Brandon Moreno and Deiveson Figueiredo. The last time those two fought, that was the fight of the year candidate. I mean, both of them laid it all out. And you had one of the greatest fights that I've ever seen in my entire life.
I mean, if it wasn't for Rose Namajunas Joanna Jędrzejczyk and Zhang Weili, that would have been the fight of the year, hands down. But that fight was honestly one of the greatest fights ever. Moreno versus Figueiredo was really, really freaking good. Obviously, I think the low blow, I believe in the second or third round,
that took a point from
took a point away. So I think Figueiredo would have won that fight had it not been for that, but it ends in a draw. I'm glad they ran this one back so soon. I think they're gonna pick up right where they left off. I think for however long it lasts, it's gonna be an absolute banger.
Yeah, and people also forget last time these two fought, they were both fighting on 3 weeks' notice. They both fought on the card right before, and they both decided they were going to fight for the title against each other 3 weeks later. Now they're both going to have a full training camp, and I kind of remember Figueiredo saying that he was like in the hospital the night before for something going on with his stomach. So we'll see what happens if you have a healthy champ versus a healthy contender, and see if it's any different. Maybe there'll be a finish this time. I mean, I can't even. They was back and forth the whole time. Yeah, people getting dropped. So many punches were thrown, and it could have went to either one of them.
Yeah, I kind of favor Figueiredo pretty big in this one. I think he just has more power. I think he's more dynamic. Moreno's tough as hell. He's a great grappler. I just don't think he has the power to really back Figueiredo up. I think Figueiredo kind of saw everything, and I don't want to say he underestimated Moreno, but maybe he didn't think he was as tough or as durable as he was. I think Figueiredo is going to make the adjustments, and I think he's going to stop him here, but I would not be surprised either way.
Yeah, I agree. I think the champ currently has a speed advantage for sure. It showed last time. Now, like I said, if he has a full camp with good cardio, I don't think that Moreno is going to be able to keep up with that pace. Deiveson laid it on him for a while. And to be honest with you, Moreno was crisp. He was landing the shots he needed to land, but I just don't think he's going to be able to keep up with Figueiredo this time.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised any which way this one goes, but I kind of lean towards Figueiredo as well to retain his title.
He's the betting favorite. I'm going to go with him. He's a minus 220. And to be honest with you, I think that's pretty fair since they're coming off a draw. Like, those are not bad odds. Like, if they weren't coming off a draw, he'd be a minus 400, probably minus 450.
Yeah, I think those odds are pretty fair.
Yeah. And then you got your main event. The main event is a rematch that's been waiting to happen for a while. You have Marvin Vettori versus Israel Adesanya. The last time they fought ended in a split decision, and you have a hungry contender in Marvin Vettori, who's now looking to avenge his loss against the current champ, Israel Adesanya.
Yeah, did you see them at the press conference? They were going, they're going Hambino on each other.
Oh yeah, they are definitely not liking each other ever. They're not going to be friends. There's bad blood between them, no doubt. I mean, this has been going on for the past 3 weeks now, that they've been just chipping at each other and just being problems.
Yeah, I really like this fight. I like this rematch. I thought Robert Whittaker should have gotten the shot, but I guess obviously the dates didn't line up. So this fight, the closer it's gotten and the more they're talking shit and the more I've rewatched their first fight, I love the dynamic of it. Israel Adesanya seems coming off that loss to Jan Blachowicz that he's refocused. These guys both seem like they want to hurt the other guy. There is no love in this fight, so I really like it. I like that there's no manufactured trash talk, right? These guys seem like they really genuinely do not like each other.
Yeah, and it's you can tell just by the way that, I don't know if Vittori's ever been in a situation like this before where he's talked smack, but he's definitely just letting it fly off the top of his mouth. I mean, it's just whatever's coming to his head's coming out of his mouth. It's bad blood for sure. And I'll be honest with you, Israel Adesanya being a relatively, a decent favorite, but as he should be, he hasn't lost a middleweight. He's coming in at a minus 260 and a Vittori plus 210. Ideally, stats and everything say Adesanya should win this fight. But we're going to see. I mean, Jan opened up a game plan against Adesanya. Now the question is, can someone like Marvin implement that and take him down and control him? And you have to weather the storm a little bit. Adesanya is no joke.
No, but I think that Marvin Vettori has a style that can give Israel problems, especially after seeing the Jan fight. Again, Jan is a very healthy size 205 pounder, but he was able to neutralize Adesanya and take him down. And I think Jan is just criminally underrated. I could see Marvin implement a similar style to Jan, but the problem is going to be when he can't get Adesanya down, because I expect Adesanya to use a lot of lateral movement to offset the takedowns and offset Vittori's balance. I just wonder what the stand-up is going to look like and how long Vettori can survive on the feet if he is not getting takedowns.
Yeah, I almost feel like the trash talking plays into Adesanya's favor just out of the fact that Vettori might try to strike with him for too long and try to not take him down. He's going to get himself hurt. I mean, it's time will tell, but listen, it's going to come down to, once again, striker versus grappler. You're going to have to take Adesanya down to neutralize that striking.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. But it's easier said than done. Adesanya does have good takedown defense. He has shown a good get-up game, at least at 185. I really like the fight, though. I think that Adesanya is the clear favorite. I like him to win this fight, but I think Vettori is a very live dog here.
Yeah, I agree. I think coming in as an underdog, and if his game plan works, you're going to see a 5-round fight where he's going to take down Adesanya and he's going to have to smother him. I don't think he'll finish Adesanya, but I think he'll be able to take him down. He's a big guy. People don't understand. Marvin Vettori looks very similar to Jan Blachowicz in terms of their stature. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I like Adesanya in this fight, though, to retain his title. I don't know if he's going to finish Vettori. I kind of think it's going to go the distance. And again, if you're looking at odds, Adesanya by points, or I should say by decision, is plus 145. So if you want to get some plus money on Adesanya and you think he's going to take it to a decision, plus 145 is a solid bet.
That is a very solid bet. You're rarely going to see Adesanya anything at a plus, maybe a submission. I'm surprised that even the finishes or not to go to distance is a plus.
I mean, Adesanya by TKO or KO is plus 180. I don't know. Adesanya's kind of crazy. Maybe he will get Vettori out of there, but I kind of really like that Adesanya by decision at plus 145.
I agree. The last time they fought, it went to decision. It was a split decision. So clearly that they both were able to stand there and strike. They were able to get to their stuff and, it went the whole distance.
Yeah, agreed.
And I think this card is a title contender for multiple fights. It's title contender fights. I mean, you're going to have a clear champion now at flyweight. You're going to have a number one contender coming out of 170 at welterweight to fight Kamaru. And then you're going to have a middleweight challenger as well. I mean, I think the winner of Adesanya Vettori is going to fight Robbie Whittaker.
Yeah, I would hope so. Whittaker definitely deserves that shot. And then if you look down on the card, even on the prelims, women's flyweight, Lauren Murphy, Joanne Calderwood, probably the winner of that is going to fight for the women's flyweight title.
Yeah, I agree. I think that there's a lot of things on this card right now that are going to set up the future of the main events or maybe headlining some of the UFCs in the future. I don't know if you saw, but Paulo Costa recently pulled out of his fight.
I did.
I don't know the whole thing on that. I saw it because of fighter pay. I don't know how much that I like that. I'm not really a fan of that.
I don't know. He's that guy's been going crazy ever since he lost to Adesanya.
Yeah.
I don't know. He said he was drunk, and I think he just kind of, I don't know. I think he took that loss a little bit hard, and now he's just, I don't know. Listen, the fighter pay is not going to change anytime soon. You know, Dana White is a crude businessman. I don't know. You gotta fight to make money, right?
Yeah.
So him not fighting, and especially pulling out of a fight like Cannonier, you fight a guy like Cannonier and win, you're right back in that
I know.
title picture. But you know what? Maybe, I don't know. If he feels that's what he has to do, I can't fault him for it.
Yeah, you know, but I do think that some of the fighters don't necessarily take into consideration that they're getting taken care of. Dana White
Right.
has to offer them 3 fights a year, I'm pretty sure, minimum. It's up to them if they want to take them or not. And the more you fight, the more money you make. The more you win, the more money you make. You know, you win a spectacular finish, you get a bonus, $50,000, $60,000, $75,000 bonus.
Right.
It's one of those things. And, you know, all kudos. I'm a big Kelvin Gastelum guy. I was at the fight actually when Kelvin Gastelum fought Israel Adesanya, so I'm very happy he's stepping in to fight Cannonier. I think that's actually going to be a much more interesting fight than Paulo Costa and Cannonier.
Yeah, Kelvin Gastelum's a G, man. That guy fights anybody. Yeah. He's put out some bangers. Hasn't quite gotten back to that Israel Adesanya level when he fought him, but I mean, you keep fighting these studs after studs, you're going to get back there eventually, right?
Yeah, and here's the thing: that middleweight division, all those contenders are relatively young. I mean, I'm pretty sure Bobby Knuckles or Robert Whitaker is 29, maybe 30.
Yeah, he's not even. I don't even think he's 30 yet.
Same with Kelvin Gastelum. He was on Ultimate Fighter. He was like 22 or 23 years old, so he can't be that old now. He's got to be 28, 29, maybe. So that's exciting. It's always nice to have a weight class that's going to have people for a while in it.
Right.
So it's good to see that. But that's really all I have for this card.
Yeah, same. Same. I think we covered it all.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on, Kurt.
Yeah, of course, man. I appreciate the invite.
Of course, we'll do another one.
For sure.
I was gonna have my old wrestling coach Kurt was gonna do this one with us, but he's been sick, so I told him that I got it. It's no problem. But yeah. Do you want to tell everybody listening something about yourself? You know, who you are and what's up?
My name is Jared Gordon, otherwise known as Jared Flash Gordon. Fight in the UFC. Born and raised Queens, New York. Been down in South Florida for like 2 years now, full time. And my daily routine, I'm just training, fighting. And that's my life.
Living the life, living the dream. Yeah. You know, I've always wondered, like, what's that feeling, you know, finding out you get signed to the UFC? You know, what's that feel like? Like all your hard work and accomplishments, you know, that paid off.
You said getting signed to UFC?
Yeah, like knowing you're signed with them now.
So, I mean, for me, when I got signed, I got signed on Dana White's looking for a fight show. Mm-hmm. And so he was like, so, you know, I won the fight. And he was like, so you want to do this? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, you sure? And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure, you know. And like, he was like, he was mad that I wasn't like,
yeah, like 100%
mad. Mm-hmm. But he was like, you're not excited. And I'm like, well, you know, for me, like I always knew that I can get in.
Yeah.
And it's not like, you know, he was giving me like $1 million right there. You know, like he signed me and you start at 10-10. So even if, you know, I won my debut. So after I won, you know, I gave 10% to my managers, 10% to my coaches, taxes, go home with like $10,000.
Yeah.
Within a couple of weeks, you're fucking broke. So like, it's not like it was, you know, I was happy, obviously, and, you know, that's what I worked for, and I got it done. But, you know, becoming a champion and or having, like, longevity in the sport is when, you know, then you could be happy. If you made, like, a bunch of money and you know, you built yourself up, like, you know, you made top 10, you know, maybe fall for the title, become champion. You know, obviously the goal for everyone is to become a champion. So
absolutely,
you know, like, yeah, of course I was happy. But I knew like then, you know, there's still so much more to go, you know?
Yeah.
So like just so many guys get into UFC, but not everyone stays. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I listened to an
So
interview kind of recently, actually, after Paul Felder retired, and he was talking about that. You know, he had an opportunity to main event, like to headline a few UFC cards. Yeah, he was never the champion, but he's going to be remembered for having some amazing fights, having a great career, and it's not all, you know, it's the way you get there. And he knew, you know, it's sometimes it's like you said, the longevity of the fighting career.
yeah, I'm actually really close to Paul. He's one of my really good friends, and you know, like he was satisfied with what
Yeah.
he did,
Mhm.
and also he's got a great job commentating.
Absolutely.
So that's like, you know, it's not like he doesn't have to fight to make a living.
Mhm.
So, you know, like you said, he fought a couple main events and he made decent money, and you know, I think he was ranked top 6. I don't know if he ever got to top 5, but he was ranked number 6 in the weight class, and you know, he got really far. So
Yeah.
um yeah, like that's, I think when you can say like, yeah, you know, I did pretty well too. So you know, there's so many variables that come into play when it becomes when it comes to becoming champion. Like
Yeah.
you could be the guy that's about to fight for the title, and then you get injured and you never fight for the title, and that's it. And then like your career goes nowhere. Like, and I've seen it happen to guys, you know, where they're supposed to fight for the title and they never got the chance because they got injured, and then their career kind of fizzled out. So like, you know, there's so many variables, and depending on what the UFC wants, what the fans want, and things that happen, you know, depends. It can make or break your career.
Yeah, you know, I talked about it like a little bit with my brother earlier, but you know, you said it how you already knew that you were going to be there. You knew you were going to get it. Like you knew you were going to make it to the UFC. And you know, I joke around. I tell my brothers it's because you know, Italians, we don't have blood that runs through our veins. You know, it's olive oil and red pepper, and that's why we have an electric kick. You know, we get a little fire to us. It's a little different. Because it's, you know, it's true. You knew you wanted to be in the UFC before you got there. It wasn't like you just started fighting and you're like, yeah, you know, it would be cool to be there. Like you knew you were going to be a fighter. You had it. You started when you were young and you just worked and you grinded and you stuck with it. To up and comers, people who just start their MMA careers, what would you tell them? You know, like how would you explain to them about their path and what they should do?
It's not a straight line to the top.
Yeah.
It's more or less a lot of ups and downs, a lot of, you know, take 1 step forward, take 2 steps back, or take 3 steps forward, take 2 back. And that's been like how my whole career has been since I started fighting, you know, even before the UFC. Like, you know, you win, you get injured, or, you know, you're out for a year because you had surgery. Like for me, I had shoulder surgery. I was out for a year. Obviously, you know, I had a drug addiction issue. So there was all that. And then, you know, there's so many other variables. So expect a lot of heartache, frustration, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Obviously, have to go into it. Got to grind every day. Consistency, I think, is the number one thing. You know, you can't be, you know, a guy that only trains for fights and then expect to get to the UFC. You got to be training year round. You need to drill. It's not all about training hard. It's about training smart. And you know, diet, something that I've struggled with. You know, staying at a good weight year round, which a lot of fighters struggle with. You know, and just when you think you got it, that's when you need to like take a step back and say to yourself, like, all right, like I gotta stay humble, stay being a student, because you're never gonna know everything and you'll never be perfect. And try to stay in the moment. Like for me, like when I project into the future, it just creates anxiety because I'm like so concerned with like results, or, you know, oh, I have to win, or, you know, like if this doesn't happen, then this and this won't happen, and then I'm screwed. You know, forget the past, because whatever's done is over and you can't change it. And thinking about it's not going to help you. So you got to stay in the moment and just do what you can right now to be as prepared as possible. Even today, man, like I was super down on myself because, you know, I had to have this epidural in my neck, and you know, my left arm, like, it feels like I'm holding like 30 pounds in it. When I lift it up, it feels super weak. I can't even lift up like 15 pounds right now in front of me without my arm dropping. So, you know, that's really like, I'm supposed to be training, and like, you know, I can't fight like this. So like, I gotta, you know, I know I'll get better, but it's going to take a while. And, you know, this is how it goes. But I was super down on myself. And, you know, in my head, I'm like, you know, I fought in February. So, you know, I make decent money now. But I got a call yesterday from my manager saying they want me to fight in October 2nd. That's in 4 months from now.
Yeah.
Granted, I have this issue right now, so it's probably going to take 6 weeks for me at least to get back to normal. So, you know, by the time I get in there, I said, you know, by the time training camp starts, you know, I'll have like a pre-camp, and then I'll go into training camp. But from February to October is like 7 months. I fought February 20th. The fight's October 2nd. So that's 7 months. That's a long time between paydays, you know?
Absolutely.
So I got bills, and, you know, I'll make it there, but, you know, I gotta, okay, maybe I gotta you know, not spend as much here, or I gotta, like, you know, watch myself. And, you know, I thought maybe I'd be fighting in like August.
Yeah. So those little setbacks from like injuries or anything like that, like, starts to put you down a little bit.
Yeah. And then you think, like, I thought to myself, like, all right, let me get one more fight in before I turn 33. I turned 33 September 6th. So
yeah, I'm September 5th. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. So it's like, I'm like, oh, I'm not even, you know, I'm only going to be able to, you know, I gotta, it's like, and in my head, I'm like, oh, I'm getting older, you know? And, you know, even though I'll still be in my prime, it's just like, you know, there's so many things and variables that come into play. But, you know, I had to like bitch and moan to my girl, and she was like, yeah, like, get out of this, snap out of this, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you've been through so much worse.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you know, but it's so easy for myself, you know, for me to get down on myself, even though I persevered through so much shit. But like, for me, I'm like, when is it just going to be like easy? Like, when is it going to just like go the way I want it to go? Because it's never, no matter what the fuck I do, it never goes the way I'm hoping it goes. There's always some fucking roadblock or some huge obstacle that I have to jump through. But you know, I have a close friend, an older guy. He's like in his 60s, and he always says to me, like when I'm going through hard times, he's like, Jared, the hoops that you have to jump through are way bigger than they appear. You know, so like in my head, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be so hard, and in reality, it's like not that big of a deal. Like I'll get through it, and I'll be able to jump through these hoops. But, you know, for humans, I think for most people, it's easy for us to beat ourselves up, you know, and to think like that we're doomed, you know. But
no, you're right.
That's fighting in a nutshell.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's, you know, people talk about getting down on yourselves, but let's say you rushed it and you didn't let yourself heal, and you didn't take the time to get better, and then you took the fight, you know, maybe the results don't come back the way you wanted to because you never got a chance to get back and heal.
I've done that before. I've done that to myself. I cut my finger, like, really, you could see it. My finger's like bent.
Oh yeah.
I damaged the ligament like a month and a half before a fight, and I'm like, I'll get stitches, and I'll be good. You know, I'll just train around it, and it didn't work out.
Yeah,
and I took the fight.
Probably couldn't close your fist.
Yeah, I had a terrible fight, Ken, and I went in there and I lost. And then looking back at it, I'm like, I should have pulled out of that fight.
Yeah,
should have pulled out of that fucking fight. But you know, that's the learning curve, you know.
Yeah, and anybody who doesn't know, I will be a testament to you to let them know that you have been the most talented fighter I've ever seen in my life since you were young. When you came, like I said, when I first met you, you were probably in your young 20s. You know, I was a little boy, but watching through the glass, you know, watching you train. And I won't name any names, but I would definitely remember watching you training with top level UFC fighters at the time and submitting them, giving them your all and fighting with them. And I was like, man, like, this kid's got all the talent in the world. And it just goes to show, you've always been a blue collar person. You work hard to get to where you're at. Like you said, it never came easy, it's been hard, but look where you're at now. You've made it so far from then, and it's incredible to see, like as a fan to watch. It's wonderful.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Of course. So what do you think is next for you? You're coming off, and also you came off of 2 ass whoopings you gave to people. So after that, like, do you have anything set in mind for what you want to do next?
Well, I mean, so I got a call yesterday saying that I'm going to fight October 2nd.
Yeah.
I don't want to say names yet because just we haven't signed the contracts, but they gave me an opponent. I said yes. A guy that's 3-0 in the UFC. So good matchup. I actually know the guy, not personally, but we came from the same regional promotion, CFFC. Tough match. Really good grappler. But every fight in the UFC is going to be hard.
Of course, yeah. It's the top of the top.
It's either I go against my last opponent. Everyone was like, "Oh, he's super dangerous striker," and he is. He was dangerous, And then I went out there and I did what I did. So I'm going to fight good grapplers, good wrestlers, good Muay Thai guys, good boxers. There's no easy fights anymore.
Yeah, and that's another thing that comes with it too. That's why people don't understand. Like, it's great to be like incredible at one thing, but like you said, best, it's good to be a student. You're always going to be a student because you need to learn other crafts. You have to learn how to build your tool bag. What are you the best at, and how can you implement other stuff to help that? It's good. It's what makes you you. There's no reason that you should be like, oh, I'm the best at this, I'm just going to do it, because people adapt. People, they see film. People learn, and it's good to always keep changing. Yeah. So outside of fight related stuff though, what does Jared Gordon like to do for fun? You got any hobbies?
I like working out.
Yeah, look, I know, I see you post all the time.
They're like, so what do you do for fun? I'm like, I run, I lift weights. Me and my girl go to the gun range a lot. We've been
that's awesome, love it.
Shooting, target practice. I've been buying guns like there's I just have like this infatuation with firearms.
Great collection.
Yeah. I mean, I actually just got hired by a drug rehab.
That's incredible.
So I've been busy with that. Just like being like their brand ambassador, kind of going to meetings at their rehab centers and speaking for them, and just helping other addicts or alcoholics, and people that went through shit like I went through. So that's been a big part of my life lately. And a lot of my friends are addicts or looking for help. So I've been helping a lot of my friends, helping strangers, speaking at meetings, going to meetings. But man, like when it comes down to like downtime, I just want to chill.
Absolutely. Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, I move so much that like I'm just like, let me just lay down and binge watch some Netflix, or The Sopranos for like the 7,000th time.
I can't go wrong with that ever.
Never gets old. But yeah, I mean, that's really it, dude. I spent so much time just working out, and that's all I care about. I'm like, I'm gonna go bike, or I'm gonna go run, or I'm gonna go lift, or I'm gonna, that's what my days are comprised of. But my only off day is Sunday. So like when Sunday comes, I go to church with my girl. We're followers of Jesus, and I'll spend the day with her. We'll relax. She's a workaholic also. So like we just chill out, maybe go to the beach. I love going to the beach. Sit on the lounge chair, and relaxing.
On your off days, are you also allowed a cheat meal? Like, let's say fight camp not around right now, just Jared enjoying. What's your meal? Go-to meal. What do you have?
Man, have you ever been to Augie's Pizza? Augie's Pizza?
No. Where's that at? Deerfield?
2nd Avenue. It's right in Boca, like by 20th Street.
No, but I'm gonna be down soon, so I'll definitely come check it out.
Man, we'll go.
100%.
Best Sicilian slice ever. And I'm from Queens, New York, so that says a lot.
Yeah, no, that's serious. I'll have to go check it out for sure.
Yeah, but besides pizza, I'm a huge I just love a good burger, you know?
Yeah, can't go wrong.
Good burger, yeah. Milkshake and burger. Yeah.
That's so awesome. Yeah, that's great stuff. And, you know, I seriously, I remember thinking, this is also a throwback, you know, I'm thinking in my head about like when you would be at the gym. And I always used to remember that always there. You're always competing and you want to compete. Like it was always you to be the best version of yourself. And it kind of makes sense now that you've fallen in love with working out. You know, you want to keep your body always fine-tuned. You know, it's like a machine, you know, workaholic, like you said. You're always in fight camp is year round. You're always a fighter. You know, you don't get time off. And it's just what you do at that time that makes you so, you know, advanced, and it makes you elite, it brings you to that next level. People don't understand strength is a skill. You know, not everybody is strong. After a certain point, everybody will know the same techniques. They know the same stuff. So what's going to separate you from the pack? You know, it's good stuff. So I remember on your last fight, or maybe it was the second 2 fights ago, you know, you were really starting to make a big name for yourself and you were smothering. I think you landed an insane amount of significant strikes. And now every time I see them pull it up, you're like number 3 or 4 in the whole UFC for significant strikes landed. Do you feel like your style helps a big way in like how the UFC kind of is right now? You know, there's always like metas, like right now, that low calf kick, everyone's throwing it. Everyone's trying to throw that low calf kick. Do you feel like your style is good against that?
Yeah. So like, it's funny that you say that because my last opponent, he came from the gym apparently that started calf kick, MMA Masters.
Yeah.
And like he was calf kicking the shit out of all of like his previous opponents before me, and like he was hurting them bad with it. So I was like so concerned with the calf kick. So like one of my coaches was like, "Bro, when you get in there, just fucking rip his calf off." So I go in there and I just start calf kicking him, and I outlanded him in calf kicks, and he was supposed to be the calf kicker guy. But I think also like my ground and pound style is one of the more effective styles in fighting. You know, if you look at like George St. Pierre or, you know, Kamaru or Khabib, obviously, you know, like if you could take a guy down and hold him there and beat him up, it sucks the life out of you, and it's demoralizing. And now, like, so say they make it through the first or second round, and that whole round they were on their back and beat up. Now they're just so worried about the takedown.
It opens up your striking.
It opens up your striking. So I think that it's super effective, and it's like, I think that most people aren't going to want to go to the ground with me. Obviously, there's guys that have really great grappling as well. I'm not going to say that, you know, there's not people that don't have just as good grappling or better than me. But I think most of the time I'm probably going to have better top control and ground and pound than the next guy. So yeah, I think I'm not saying that it's the most crowd pleasing style, because, you know, the fans and the UFC, they want to see blood and guts, but it's probably the most effective style. So, and that's what like UFC is all about, longevity, you know, or MMA and having this career is about longevity. Like you could look great in one fight, knocking dudes out, and then you go in into the next fight with the same, you know, rock 'em, sock 'em style, like brawling, and then you get knocked out. So it's like, you know, you're kind of like throwing it's like a crapshoot.
Yeah.
But if I know that if I take you down and get on top, that the chances of me getting hurt are a lot less than if I'm standing in the pocket just exchanging punches with you. So, you know, it's just safer, and it's like it's, for me, it's like a sure way to victory.
Yeah, and that's honesty. And you look at it, like you said, Khabib is a perfect example. You know, at the beginning of his career, people probably said the same stuff. Oh, all he wants to do is wrestle. All he wants to do is wrestle. Okay, well, after 18, 19, 20 victories in a row, it's like, okay, well, you know, maybe this guy's the real deal and he's fucking people up on top. So this style, you know, seems to be working. And now everybody wants to watch him. They're so impressed on how dominant someone can be like that. So it's like you said, longevity. An example of the opposite of, like you said, standing in the pocket. Yeah, you might be a knockout specialist, but you could also risk that. You know, Cody Garbrandt, you know, he's an incredible fighter, but what happens is you put yourself out there and you let your chin get tested and tested. It's, you win some and you lose some. You live by the sword, die by the sword type of thing for people like that.
Sure. 100%.
Yeah, that's tough. It's tough because it's, like you said, why risk the damage for what? If you know you can get on top of somebody and make it demoralizing. And what makes it demoralizing is, like you said, holding them down. It's not like you're just taking them down and they're getting back up, because you take them down, you get on top, you smash their face in, they're trying to get away from you, you just keep smothering them, and it gets in their head, and it opens up the striking for you. And then the next thing you know, now they have to worry about your striking, and then if they're done, it's too late. But I also, another thing, I'm going back to Paul Felder because I just thought of this when you were talking about how important it is, like your style. He was bragging about how quickly, like if you were to get taken down in practice, how fast you get back up, and why that's so important as to staying on your back. Like in a jiu-jitsu and MMA, and people might not like to hear this, but it's not always the best to be on your back. Your first instinct should be to get right to your feet. And then, okay, if that's not there, now what? How am I scrambling? How am I getting away from this?
Yes, definitely, 100%. Yeah, that's demoralizing. Also, if someone takes you down and then you get right back up, that makes, it tires them out, and then they're like, oh, I can't keep this guy down.
Absolutely. Do you feel like that is also a big, like a plus to have, like that mental IQ of knowing that when you get taken down, you're not trying to hold them down, you're not trying to hug them and wait to be stood up. Like your mind is just instantly down and up, down and up.
Yeah, like I know that I'm comfortable there and that I'm able to, get back up and protect myself from being held down or getting beat up on the floor, which I think is something that a lot of guys also are missing, is, not necessarily playing jujitsu off your back, which some guys can get away with.
Yeah, kudos to
and
them.
they're amazing at, playing off their back. And obviously it's something that you have to be careful if you're in the top guy, because, you get put in certain submissions and you're gonna tap or go to sleep or, get something broken. So, but yeah, if you're able to, create space and get up, and say he does it again, you get taken out, and then, you get up. Now it's the guy's, tired, and now it's your turn.
Yeah, you're right. And that is probably just as demoralizing as getting taken down and smothered. If I took you down and wasted all that energy thinking like, all right, I'm going to get a break now that I took you down, and then you get right back to your feet, I'm like, fuck, man, this is going to kill me. This is going to kill my game, my head. It's got to be brutal. And you see that happen as well. I mean, when Cody Garbrandt, once again, I'm just thinking of it, this Rob Font fight, he took him down like 3 times in the beginning of the fight, but Rob Font was so active on his back, trying to get up, trying to sweep. He was using a Kimura sweep. It's like, okay, I got to get away from the takedown, and he had to strike. It's tough.
Yeah, you did a great job. Really good job.
Yeah, great striking too. It was incredible.
Great.
Are you planning on, like you said, you had the fight signs coming up in October that you not signed yet, but that you were offered a fight in October. And you said, like, you get injured and it takes some time to heal, and you get 1, 2, maybe 3 fights a year. Sometimes guys are lucky to get that 4th fight. How important, how important is it to keep your body healthy? Like, do you want to fight? How many times do you want to fight in a year? Are you looking forward to fighting?
I would like to be fighting, like 3-4 times a year would be ideal.
Yeah.
But so, like I said, so many variables keep you from doing that. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's all about, fight, take a little bit of time off, get back in the gym, get a fight, 3-4 months later, do that 3-4 times a year. And that's ideal. I mean, it's been hard the last couple of years for me to be consistent. That's how I would like it to be.
Do you have any, I've always wondered, because I have seen that you have a close relationship with Paul Felder, and another one is fighting soon, Bilal Muhammad. I see you guys always posting stuff and having fun. Right. Do you have any funny stories maybe at Fight Island? Like, I remember, I don't know if it was, I think Paul filled in for a fight in Fight Island maybe. And I remember all you guys being there.
Yeah. Paul was on the booth, and he came and cornered me. All my coaches weren't able to come because of COVID. Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy week for me. I went there alone, no coaches, nothing. And I had Paul, Eric Nixick, who's the head coach at Extreme Qatar, and Gary Tonin, who I trained with for like a long time at Henzo's in New York. I just strung a team together, and and they
Made it
cornered
work.
me. That was, it was insanely. It was
Oh, I could
crazy.
only imagine. People don't understand like the toll cutting weight takes on you. So to have to add stress of something else like that onto you had to have been like frantic. And I could only
Yeah,
imagine.
I was pretty, but at that point I was like, I got nothing to lose, like let's go in there and do what I do, and it worked out. But Bilal, I lived with Bilal for like almost 2 years.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's really cool.
Yeah, I lived with him in Milwaukee. We had an apartment. We shared an apartment together. Man, that kid is great, dude. I love that kid, and I would do anything for him. I don't know if you ever saw that prank though that we did to Paul.
No.
We were in. So this was like almost over 2 years ago now. I think it was 2019. Yeah. September. Let me think. It's almost been 2 years, I think. Paul and Bilal were fighting in Abu Dhabi. It was on the Poirier versus Khabib card. And we met this guy who I'm friends with. I actually saw him recently when I was in Abu Dhabi a couple months ago. And he's like super Americanized, but his name's Ibrahim. He's an Abu Dhabi resident, and he's an Arab, and he's got a beard, and he wears I forget what it's called, but the male.
I've seen it, the white one that they all would wear.
Yeah. He's wearing the white garment, and he's got his headpiece on, and so we go, me, Bilal, and Ibrahim go to Paul's room, and we knock on the door, and Bilal's like, "Hey, I'm with Sheikh Ibrahim. He wants to meet you." So Paul's like, "Oh, how you doing?" And Paul like shakes his hand, and Bilal goes, "Gotta kiss his hand."
No.
So Paul literally was like, he's like, "Are you serious?" So he's like, "All right." He's about to go kiss his hand, and then Bilal's like, "No, we're just." Man, it's so funny. But if you look on, I'll send it to you. I have it on Instagram. It's hysterical, dude.
Please do. I'd love to see that. That's got to be incredible.
Bro, it like went viral. We put it on. We put it on social media, and like everyone in the world saw it, and like all of the major, MMA sites and shit like reposted. It was hysterical. It gets reposted like every couple of months. It's just so funny.
That's so great. I could only imagine, going to a country where you don't speak the language, or like you're not sure, you're foreign, you're not really sure what's going on, and then you bring in some guy saying he's a sheik. Hey, come here right now. We got to introduce you. Like he's like, "Oh, what do I do? What do I do?" That's so funny, dude.
What the fuck?
Yeah, that's so great. Oh man, I know Bilal Muhammad's got a good fight coming up. I believe with Damian Maia in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's a good fight. I think he could. I think get the job done. He obviously doesn't want to end up on the floor with him.
Yeah. His
Not
pace
really
is incredible, though. I think his pace alone is going to fluster and maybe cause Damian to be uncomfortable. I think that his pace is just that pressure is going to tire him out alone already. I really do.
Yeah, I think, obviously Damian's a little older. Bilal's in his prime. But still a tough matchup, obviously.
Absolutely.
She's so dangerous if it hits the floor. Even if he's on his back, that's someone that you don't want to be like necessarily playing.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah, in his guard, or unless he's like exhausted and beat up, then Bilal could probably do fine on top. But if he's fresh and it's early on, you don't want to be in his guard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why it's so important that you stay healthy and work out. Someone like him who keeps an incredible pace, like the both of you guys. Maybe it's just something in the water over by you guys, but you all have that pace where it's just constant. It's got to tire other people out, being on your back foot the whole time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely a pressure fighter.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have time? Are you busy? Like, what are you doing right now? You have a lot of time on your hand, or something?
At this moment, you mean?
Yeah, like right now.
I have to eat dinner with my fiance. She's going to. Her aunt died. Unfortunately, she got COVID and she didn't do so well, and she actually passed away. like 2 days ago. So she's got to go tomorrow morning early to New York for the funeral. So I'll have to, spend some time with her. But wow, what's up?
Absolutely. No, I don't want to keep you for too long, but I was gonna say, the upcoming fights, I like to do for all my bettors out there, some predictions, some picks, and and the lives. Absolutely. So I know that we can start with a little bit, like we won't start with the main event, but I have 4 fights that I picked up and I put the odds out. I have a lot of friends who are, degenerates. All of us are gamblers, unfortunately. But the first one that I thought of was Baeza and Ponzibio. I personally, I've seen Baeza fight in person. My brother is the first one who showed me him fight, and I remember him in the lower amateur ranks being like, "Oof, this kid's gonna be a problem." And I don't know. I just think that you have Baeza 10-0. His last 3 fights have been finishes, and he's hungry and he's an up and comer. So I have him, but I don't know if you have any ideas on that fight. Maybe.
Yeah, I think he gets it done. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. That's going to be that'll be a good fight. The next fight that I thought of is, probably going to butcher his last name, but Dolidze versus Staropoli.
Oh, Dolidze, versus, what was the other guy's name?
Staropoli. I can't even pronounce his first name.
I'm going to give that. I know him, yeah. I'm giving it to Dolidze.
Yeah, that's what I have too. I saw Staropoli's on a 2-fight skid as well. I think this is going to be a very strategic approach, almost too strategic, where he's going to try to be too patient, maybe not throw enough pressure, and Dolidze's just going to have his way with him.
Yeah, he's a pressure fighter too.
Yeah, for sure. And he's 8 or 9-1, I believe, as well. His style is clearly doing something for him. It's working for him right now.
Yeah.
Then you have the co-main event. You have Walt Harris, who is the underdog right now, versus Tabura. And, it's a hard pick for me. In heavyweights, it's always hard. I do like Walt Harris a lot, and he's the slight underdog. That's I'm taking him. I think it's just going to be, he's got something.
Yeah, I like Walt. I like Walt in that fight. I also, as a human, he's a great person. So yeah. I've had some interactions with him. Great dude. I'm going for him.
Yeah, 100%. Can't go wrong with picking him. Then the main event, you have two big giants there. You have Rozenstruik and Sakai. Personally, I think someone's getting knocked out in that fight. I do. I think Sakai and Rozenstruik have both fought Overeem. I think Overeem beat Sakai. I also believe Overeem was beating Rozenstruik before that vicious right hand that almost took his lip off his head. But I think I'm going to go with Rozenstruik by knockout.
Yeah. I like Rozenstruik in that one too. He's a freak.
Yeah, it's crazy to think how strong some of these guys are at that weight class. Yeah. They're both coming off losses though. So I know you're gonna have Rozenstruik and Sakai both wanting to prove something. Once again, it could be one of those live by the sword, die by the sword thing. Rozenstruik's gonna go in there and try to knock his head off.
With those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know if you remember, do you remember Alir Latifi?
Yeah, of course.
When we were training back in Florida back in the day, he just came over from Sweden, and I remember him being there. But he's fighting Tanner Boser up at heavyweight
now. Oh shit!
Yeah, he's fighting this weekend also. I'm gonna go with him just because I like him. I think he's super strong, good guy. I personally thought he beat Derek Lewis when they fought.
I thought he won too. I don't know how they gave it to him.
Yeah, I actually, it's funny. I sent the video. I sent it to Facebook. To the UFC on Facebook. And I was just curious. I'm like, how could this be scored the other way? You have a man with over 10 minutes of control in a 15-round fight and dominant on top. Derek Lewis couldn't get up, but I guess it's what happens sometimes if you're not doing enough on the feet. And you're right. The fans want to see a knockout. The judges want to see a knockout. That's what happens.
Ridiculous, yeah.
Yeah, once again, makes it different from someone like that and someone like you is you talk about it how when you're on top, you're not just trying to hold somebody there. You're on top and you're smashing
their face. You got to do damage, yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like not being as heavy striker-wise, more so wrestling, more so grappling, do you feel like that opens up your striking more just because people, like you said, worry about that?
Yeah, guys, they get timid to throw their strikes and they're so worried about the takedown. So, like when I'm changing levels, they're changing levels with me for now. Instead of shooting, I'm coming back to strikes. Mm-hmm. And then they overcommit to a punch, and then that's when I take it down.
Yeah, and it also, I know it all goes hand in hand for you with your style. You know, you push the pace, you can wrestle if you want to. They start to bite on the wrestling. Now you just hit them with 3 or 4 combos in a row. Next thing you know, they're flustered. They don't know what to do. So you see that style. It happens a lot. I mean, I bet you nobody on this planet thought Khabib was going to drop Conor. I bet you nobody thought that was going to happen. So I can only imagine. Yeah, Conor probably was getting ready for a takedown to come in and ate an overhand right that put him down. I mean, it happened.
He changed his level and instead of shooting, he just threw overhand right.
Yeah. Yeah, it was wonderful. Well, I don't want to keep too much of your time if you have dinner, but I really do appreciate you coming on today.
Of course, bro. Anytime.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'll definitely have to have you back on again. And to be honest, I'll be down in Florida in 2 weeks. We're going to have to go to that pizza place 100%.
All right. You hit me up when you're down here.
Absolutely will do. Thank you so much.
All right, bro.
Stay safe.
Have a good night. Later, bro.